Okay, let's dive into this, because we're preparing to completely reframe our planet's timeline in this explainer. When we think of ancient Earth, we typically picture these towering prehistoric jungles, right? Thick ferns or immense dinosaurs roaming across massive supercontinents. We just have this deeply ingrained biological timeline in our heads. But what if our fundamental sense of Earth's biological history is actually missing a massive, ancient piece of the puzzle? What if the true rulers of our planet aren't the ones who walked on land, but the ones who totally dominated the waters long before the land was even hospitable? Imagine a world without forests. Just picture that for a second. It sounds completely impossible, right? Trees are so fundamental to our understanding of nature, of ecosystems, and of life on land in general that a planet without them feels completely alien to us. The oxygen we breathe, the shade we seek, the complex habitats for countless species, all of it gone. But to truly understand the sheer age of the creatures we're analyzing today, we kind of have to strip away the jungles, the pine forests, and the sprawling woods. We have to literally rewind the clock past the dinosaurs, past the first land reptiles, to a completely different Earth. A landscape composed of bare rock, perhaps some low-lying mosses and early fungi, but entirely devoid of a single tree. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it absolutely shatters our standard evolutionary assumptions. We're looking at the arrival of the earliest trees versus the first sharks. And the wild truth from our research is that sharks existed long, long before the very first trees ever appeared on Earth. Seriously, before a single leaf rustled in the wind, before a single wooden trunk pushed its way through the soil to reach for the sun, sharks were already patrolling the depths of the global ocean. They were fully realized apex predators in a vibrant marine ecosystem, while the continents above them were essentially biological deserts. 400 million. I'll just pause and let that number sink in for a moment. Scientists estimate that sharks have been swimming in our oceans for over 400 million years. That scale, it makes all of human history look like a literal blink of an eye. If you compress Earth's history, we humans barely even register at the very end. But for 400 million years, these incredible animals have been slicing through the water generation after generation. To put that completely into perspective, sharks were swimming in our oceans before the rings of Saturn were even formed. No way, right? They are unimaginably ancient, and they figured out the mechanics of survival earlier than almost anything else still alive today. Let's move to and see how this builds, because when we map this out chronologically, the gap becomes just staggering. The first sharks appeared at that 400 million year mark, but the earliest trees, organisms that could actually stand upright with woody tissue, they finally show up around 350 million years ago. That is a 50 million year gap. 50 million years. To give you an idea of how vast that evolutionary chasm is, 50 million years is roughly the amount of time separating the extinction of the T-Rex from the dawn of early human ancestors. For that entire expanse of time, sharks ruled a water world while the land was devoid of anything resembling a tree. By the time the very first tree finally took root, sharks were already ancient, seasoned veterans of the sea. The crucial point is understanding the heavy implications of this massive timeline. Over those hundreds of millions of years, the Earth absolutely did not stay still. It went through cataclysmic shifts. Sharks watched the planet change dramatically. They survived multiple mass extinctions, including the Permian-Triassic extinction event, which is often called the Great Dying, and that wiped out roughly 90% of all marine life. 90%? Through unimaginable planetary disasters, plunging ice ages, violently warming oceans, and asteroid impacts that completely reshaped the globe, the sharks endured. They retreated to the deep, they adapted their diets, and they kept swimming. And this brilliantly illustrates why they command so much respect. We can connect this incredibly ancient past directly to our modern world by celebrating their sheer resilience. Their basic biological design was so perfectly tuned to their environment that they haven't needed to drastically change their blueprint for hundreds of millions of years. It's like they hit the nail on the head on the very first try. As our source material beautifully summarizes it, they truly are living legends of the ocean. When you see a shark today, whether it's a massive great white or a small reef shark, you aren't just looking at an animal, you're looking at a masterclass in survival that spans geologic eras. Which brings us to our final thought. Looking back at this staggering journey from a barren, treeless Earth to the vibrant, complex oceans of the present, isn't it incredible that these ancient predators are still with us today? It's a testament to the sheer endurance of life, and it entirely shifts our perspective on who the true veterans of this planet really are. Keep that staggering evolutionary scale in mind the next time you look out at the ocean. I'll catch you in the next explainer.